They don't want you to know that. Yes, that's exactly what you read. In a world where we are bombarded by distractions and instant pleasures, there is ancient and powerful knowledge that is being ignored, and it's no coincidence. Have you ever wondered why so many men today live without energy, without focus, and without direction? Can something as simple as semen retention really change your life? Now imagine, a retired biologist, specialist in molecular biology, reveals a shocking truth in a casual conversation in a sauna. No filters, no mincing words. He reveals scientific studies that indicate retention can raise testosterone levels, amplify mental clarity, and even increase creativity. But if that's true, why doesn't anyone talk about it? Get ready, because today we're going to dive deep into this discussion. You will understand why this practice can be the key to your transformation. And when you finish this video, you can even choose to ignore all of this, or you can apply this knowledge and see the effects in your own life. The choice is yours. Imagine yourself in a hot, humid environment where steam slowly rises and words flow unfiltered. In a YMCA sauna, a random chat turns into an in-depth discussion about sperm retention and evolutionary biology. It all started when someone asked the question, "Have you heard about NoFap?" The momentary silence was soon broken by laughter and curious looks. But one of those present, an older man, sat up straighter and offered an intriguing perspective. There's actually a scientific basis to this. The group, which until then had been talking about sports and routine, remained silent to listen. This man was none. He was a retired professor of molecular biology, and his insight on the topic made everyone stop and pay attention. He began by explaining that, from a biological point of view, the human body responds to hormonal cycles and that withholding sex can indeed influence these processes. Our reproductive system was shaped by evolution, he said, wiping sweat from his brow. There are studies that indicate that, when avoiding ejaculation for a while, certain hormones increase, affecting our energy and cognition. This aroused a mix of skepticism and curiosity in the group. The creator of the universe designed the human body with intelligence, and the way it responds to semen retention may have a much greater purpose than we realize. Between comments and heated debates, a conversation progresses to something even more interesting. Could it be possible that retention influences not only hormonal levels, but also cognitive and physical performance? The sauna got hotter, but the discussion was still just beginning. The professor had more to say, and his scientific vision went far beyond common sense. The professor, experienced and well-articulated, began to unravel the topic with a scientific perspective that few expected. Semen retention is not just a popular belief, he said, running his hand through his now gray beard. It has well-documented hormonal implications. Peer-reviewed studies that demonstrate how abstinence can elevate testosterone levels, which in turn impacts energy, mental clarity, and even stimulation. The group, which previously saw the subject as mere curiosity, began to take the conversation more seriously. He explained that the human body, in its quest for biological forests, is constantly regulating the production and use of internal resources. Semen, being a compound rich in nutrients and energy, is not just a specific limit. If the creator of the universe structured our biology this way, perhaps there is a reason why the body reacts so positively when we preserve it, he suggested. This brought to light a new perspective. What if retention wasn't just about discipline, but about a deeper alignment with our own physiology? One conversation took a more analytical turn. Some have even questioned whether this practice could be a powerful tool for maximizing human potential. The professor didn't hesitate. Look at great historical figures who talk about this, from Nikola Tesla to certain spiritual masters. The discussion was far from over, and a question hung in the air. If sperm retention can increase testosterone, could it also improve other areas of life, such as cognitive and physical performance? The intrigued creator asked the question that everyone was thinking but no one dared to ask. If hormone levels change, does that mean retention can improve mental and physical performance? The professor smiled, as if he had already expected this doubt. Evolutionary biology teaches us that everything our bodies do has a reason, he said. If retention increases testosterone, then it can impact strength, focus, and even the ability to solve problems. This made the group reflect on how instincts and human physiology are interconnected. He then brought up an interesting analogy. Think of the ancient warriors and monks, continued. They didn't waste energy for nothing, and their physical and mental capabilities were impressive. This hit home with some listeners, who began to question whether their struggles with energy and discipline could be linked to excess vital waste. After all, if even the creator of the universe designed us to operate in energetic cycles, it made sense that holding on to that energy could lead to a peaceful and clear state. The conversation, which began unpretentiously, now entered even more intriguing territory. If withholding sex can amplify energy and cognition, could it be a path to fuller personal development? The professor just sent it and said, "Well, science already indicates that retention can influence your hormone levels. But what happens after that is something that everyone needs to understand." The group was silent for a moment, reflecting on the magnitude of this idea. But the discussion was far from over, because now they would go into detail about the science behind it. The professor, now even more involved in the conversation, decided to deepen the explanation based on scientific evidence. He carried out studies that analyzed the hormonal levels of men who practiced abstinence and discovered an intriguing pattern. After 7 days without ejaculating, testosterone reached a significant peak, increasing by up to 45%. "What if we continue the retention?" someone asked. The professor gestured expectantly. "Some studies indicate that the effects stabilize after 21 days, but the impact on energy and mental clarity may be long-lasting." This sparked a new look at the topic. If the body, upon noticing retention, responds with an increase in testosterone, could this practice be used as a physical and mental strengthening tool? The professor explained that these hormones are not just about strength and libido, but also about focus, motivation, and even emotional resilience. Imagine a warrior in ancient times, facing challenges and protecting his tribe. He could not afford to spend his vital energy all the time, he compared. This made sense to many there, who were able to see retention as something beyond mere discipline. But then came the general question, if it's so beneficial, why isn't it widely taught? The professor spoke and responded, "We live in a society that favors instant gratification. But those who seek peace, prosperity, and self-mastery understand that certain sacrifices bring much greater rewards." The group was silent for a moment, taking in what had just been here. Science was on the side of retention, but there was still more to explore. How did this relate to the nature and behavior of animals? The professor leaned forward, as if he was about to reveal a well-kept secret. If we look at nature, we realize that reproductive energy retention is not a new concept, he said. Trees, for example, flower and bear fruit more intensely when they are under environmental stress. This happens because their biology understands that they need to perpetuate the species before it is too late. The analogy caught many by surprise. If even trees respond to the environment in this way, what about humans? He continued, animals also follow a similar pattern. When an environment becomes more challenging, whether due to a scarcity of food or the presence of predators, many males increase hormone production and become more aggressive and competitive. This makes them fight for the right to mate, ensuring that only the strongest pass on their genes. The group listened attentively, and someone pondered, "So, if a man stops ejaculating, the body takes this as a sign that he needs to get stronger?" The teacher nodded, "Exactly. Your body goes into growth and improvement mode." This explained why semen retention seemed to have such powerful effects on vitality and mental performance. It was as if the creator of the universe had programmed the human body to respond to the control of sexual energy with an increase in strength, focus, and even inner peace. The question is, do you want to live on autopilot, wasting your energy, or do you want to take control and use it for your prosperity? The question hung in the air, as the conversation began to move towards something even more intriguing. What, after all, are the real benefits that retention can bring to practical life? The professor, now fully involved in the discussion, paused and looked around. Let's talk about what really matters, the practical benefits. What changes when you practice retention? He then explained that the first great transformation occurs in the mind. Mental clarity increases because the body is no longer dispersing energy unnecessarily. Many men report that after a few weeks their mind feels sharper, as if a fog has lifted, he said. This made sense to the group, who began to associate this idea with moments of greater productivity and focus on their own lives. Motivation also comes into play. A man who preserves his energy feels more willing to face challenges, continued the professor. He wakes up with more energy, he feels stronger, and this is reflected in his work, his relationships, and even his posture. To illustrate, he mentioned great thinkers and spiritual leaders who, historically, practiced some type of control over their vital energy. The Creator of the universe gave us this power, but it is up to each one to decide how to use it, wasting it or channeling it into something greater. And then came the most curious part: creativity. When you save your energy, your brain enters a heightened state of activity, explained the professor. He mentioned studies linking high testosterone levels to greater dopamine production, which in turn stimulates creativity. Want a practical example? Great artists and innovators, like Leonardo da Vinci and Nikola Tesla, believed that retention enhanced their genius. The group was thoughtful. If all this was true, could this practice transform their own lives? But before anyone could respond, the professor made an unexpected suggestion. Why not try it and see the results for yourselves? The teacher laughed and looked at the group. Well, that was an unexpectedly deep conversation for a sauna, don't you think? Everyone agreed, but no one seemed to want to end the matter there. The Creator, still intrigued by everything he heard, suggested that they take this discussion to another time, with more time to explore every detail. How about we meet in Asheville for a more relaxed conversation? We'll have a beer and continue this exchange of ideas. The invitation was received with enthusiasm. Semen retention, which seemed like a distant concept at the beginning of the conversation, now seemed to have many more layers to unravel. One attendee joked, "As long as the beer doesn't break the retention benefits, I'm in." The teacher responded and replied, "The secret is in balance. Retention is not about repression, but you can allow yourself some pleasures as long as you are aware of what you are doing." This response made it clear that the practice would not be an absolute sacrifice, but rather a strategic choice to expand human potential. It was a liberating thought, and everyone wanted to try it and see the results for themselves. As the group began to say goodbye, the Creator of the universe seemed to have guided that conversation in an almost supernatural way. The topic, which began as a simple curiosity, was now being seen as a possible key to prosperity, peace, and personal growth. But the real question still hung in the air: who would have the courage to take this practice seriously and observe the effects for themselves? This was the challenge that each one would take home, and the next conversation in Asheville promises to bring new discoveries and reflections. Now that you know this, will you continue living on autopilot, or will you try what few have the courage to try? The science is there, the facts have been exposed, and most importantly, the power is in your hands. Do you want more energy, mental clarity, and a real sense of control over your life? The decision is yours. But before you leave here, tell me, have you ever tried practicing semen retention? If so, what were the results? If not, what stops you from trying? I want to see your answer in the comments. And of course, if this content opened your mind, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any more videos on this topic. Because the truth is there, but it's up to you to decide what to do with it.